We have breaking news for you. Government has dissolved the KNUST Council and in its stead put in place a 7-member interim council. It has also directed that the university reopens within 14 days to enable academic work to continue. Now, the interim council, chaired by Nana Ifa Apenteng, Paramount Chief of the Bompata Traditional Area, has a 3-month tenure. Now, this follows briefs and recommendations made by the Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, after he led a high-powered delegation, including the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, and the Minister-designate for Information, Kojo Opon Nkrumah, to Kumasi. Right, now, of course, there's a lot in this statement, but we can now go on the line to speak with the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Dr. Educhum, thank you for your time. Now, is this an indication that the recent unrest at KNUST is blamed on the leadership of the university?
Not at all. What this is indicating is that a new management council, an interim one, is being put in place that can dispassionately look at issues arising out of what we saw at KNUST and deal with it impartially and see the way forward for the university. As an alumnus of that institution, it breaks my heart and the heart of many to see what was going on at the institution. And as the statement indicated, the president, the minister, everyone condemns in no uncertain terms the vandalism that took place at the institution. And after listening to all stakeholders, the minister, of course, supported, directed by the president, approves of the fact that there's a need for a new interim management committee that has a 3-month mandate and is also charged with reopening the school within 14 days.
Right, Dr. Educhum, if what government wants to do is to have a dispassionate look at what happened, why not simply set up a committee to do that? Why dissolve the council?
You see, when you want the school to open, you do everything to make sure the school opens. The academic integrity and the standing of the university among other universities in the world is so important that you don't have that opportunity of waiting. We have foreign students who are stranded at the university. If you set up a committee, then what happens? What does the committee do? Now we have a committee that is doing the work of investigating what happened, and at the same time have the authority to run the school, so that the standing of tech is not dented in the eyes of the academia in the world, and also for people to understand that the academic success of the institution is so dear to the hearts of many. This is our only science, technology, engineering, mathematics-focused institution, a premier one as such. And the government is determined to leave no stone unturned to ensure that normalcy comes back to our great KNUST.
So this is a vote of no confidence in the existing council that has just been dissolved?
That may be your conclusion, but what I'm
asking for your conclusion, government's conclusion.
Want to bring normalcy to KNUST, and that's exactly what the government has done.
Right, so after this period, this interim period, what happens next?
Interim period, what happens is what the interim management council will do. What we want to ensure is that the government has given them a 3-month mandate to make sure tech come back to normal. And after that, or during that period, determination will be made as to the progress of their work.
Right, so after 3 months, the committee will decide what happens next.
Oh, of course, the minister, the committee will, of course, give updates after they talk to all stakeholders and report back and say this is what is going on.
Now, traditionally, universities in Ghana are autonomous bodies or semi-autonomous bodies. They make decisions for themselves. With the government instituting a committee here to manage the affairs of KNUST.
When you talk about autonomy, what we forget is that a number of the council members are appointed by the President of the Republic. So the chairman is appointed by the President of the Republic. So autonomy within the space that you have the freedom to teach and students have the freedom to learn. And the government, as you know, provides the funding for the institutions. So the autonomy that we talk about is that the government will not interfere in the day-to-day running of the institution for very good reason, so that we can really and truly ensure that academic integrity is maintained and professors can teach what their syllabus said they should teach, and there will be no interference whatsoever. That is the autonomy that we're talking about. No university has an autonomy to mismanage itself.
Okay.
Nobody.
So that is the determination of government that KNUST was mismanaging itself?
I'm saying that you don't get autonomy to mismanage. You don't get autonomy to create chaos.
So regarding KNUST...
You have autonomy to learn, but you don't have autonomy to go on rampage and destroy properties of the state. You don't have that autonomy. So the autonomy that we talk about, autonomy within law and order, autonomy within an environment where you cannot destroy school property. You can't go on rampage and say, I don't like somebody, so I'm destroying school property because I have the autonomy to do so.
Okay.
In the same way, security guards shouldn't say, this is a university, we have autonomy to run it, so we're going to bully students. No, that should not be happening. That is not the kind of autonomy the government grants to universities.
Okay. Dr. Educhum, what happens to the Vice-Chancellor?
The Interim Management Council will give further directives as to what happens to the council, the Vice-Chancellor.
Right, so the council will determine whether he keeps his job or whether he gets removed? Yeah,
that will come from the Interim Management Council.
What is the steer of the ministry? What does the ministry want the council to do in this regard?
So the ministry has handed over the run of the school is in the hands of the Interim Management Council. They've been given terms of reference to do that, among which is the fact that within 14 days the university should be reopened and that they should communicate with all stakeholders, ensure that what happened at TEC will never happen again, by giving voice to students and other stakeholders to voice whatever they deem needs to be corrected at the institution. So the university's interim management committee is to ensure that peace will forever prevail at KNUST.
What specifically has the management committee been asked to do regarding the Vice-Chancellor? What does the terms of reference say regarding him?
The Interim Management Council, as you know, obviously the University Council has oversight over hiring and firing and a whole lot of issues about staff. So this council has similar responsibility, and they are going to take care of any issues arising out of this in terms of who heads the school and who doesn't head the school. So the Interim Council have that authority, and they are going to, I'm sure, as you know, communicate with every one of us. And as their term of reference indicates, they assume the powers of the KNUST Council and oversee the day-to-day management of the university for a 3-month period. The Interim Council will investigate the circumstances and underlying issues which led to student riots and subsequent closing down of the university. They will establish a full extent and cost implications of the damage caused to private and public property. And they also will be expected to resolve the misunderstandings between management and students and ensure peace and sanity. Ensure that peace and sanity is restored.
Right.
So that is the charge, and we have confidence in them, and we believe that they will execute it accordingly.
Now, so the old council members have been informed of the government's decision, I'm guessing.
You said the council members have
the old council members have been informed of government's decision. I'm guessing.
We have a new council.
Okay. So how did the Otumfuo, for example, take this news?
No, I can't comment on that, of course.
Right, but he has been communicated. This has been communicated to the Otumfuo that he's no longer a council member.
That responsibility.
Right. Now,
Otumfuo is the chancellor, though, not the vice chancellor.
No, he is. Forgive me. Yes, he's no longer the chancellor.
He's not a member of the council.
Right. Now, let's look at what happens to the students. In 14 days, you're hoping to reopen the KNUST campus. What is it that must happen in these 14 days in order for students to be able to come back?
I mean, the terms of reference are clear, talking about the misunderstandings and resolving issues, and that is their mandate in terms of the term of reference, and they are going to operate within the terms of reference.
Okay. Are you expecting some decisions to be looked at again by the interim council? For example, the integration of some of the halls?
I can't prejudge what they are going to do. They have the full mandate to come back, advise the minister. Of course, the minister will brief the president to ensure that whatever they need to do to bring back peace at the campus is what they are going to recommend. So I don't want to prejudge them.
Right. Okay. I want to thank you very much for your time so far. We'll continue the dialogue on this matter. Thank you so much, Deputy Minister for Education there, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Now, we can tell you who the old members of the council were, and of course we'll tell you who the new ones are. So the Chancellor was the Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. But we also had Sir Professor Emeritus Kwame Sapong and several others. In fact, we're joined now by my colleague, Jojo Kobna, who has all the details of the existing members and those who, of course, are to replace them.
No, I have the names of the outgoing the people who have been axed, people who have lost their jobs.
Right, walk us through that quickly.
So, Professor Kwame Sapong, Emeritus Kwame Sapong, he is the chairman of the council.
He was.
Yeah, was. Professor Kwesi Obri Danso, the vice chancellor, who may lose his job because the new council will decide whether he gets to keep his job or not. Dr. Charles Kwabena Bwedu, Dr. Osei Kwejo Kankam, Abena and Intwi, and then some government nominees, Professor Isaac Kwame Dontwi, Dr. Isaac Dadzi, Professor Eric Kwabena Fokuo of UTAG, David Dana, that's the SRC, Abraham Poku Edu, Charles Arthur, Dr. Edward Bafo-Boni, Park Abdul Aziz Kopi, and then Eunice Akosia O Amwako. Right. So these are the outgoing. They're gone.
Yeah. These used to be the council members for KNUST. Now, you heard me ask the Deputy Minister there whether this is a vote of no confidence being passed by the government. He made the point that the government would not allow the university to be mismanaged. Based on the coverage that we've done so far and the reputations of these individuals, do you reckon that these new people who have been brought in will have the full support of management and administration at KNUST?
Well, I would think that before they selected the new members, they would have, done their background checks and then, so that they become acceptable. So I'm thinking that a lot of things went on, discussions going on to see who to put on the board to make sure that what happened on Monday should not occur again. So I feel that but we can only judge that when they take over and then when they normalize the situation in 14 days, students returning, and then 3 months giving a roadmap and also deciding who leads who becomes the Vice Chancellor of KNUST.
Historically, do we have a precedent here? Have we ever seen this happen? Has government ever just stepped in and dissolved the council of a university, to our knowledge?
Not that I recall, because we've had so many student agitations all the way from 1969, where students have been protesting and going around, but we have not seen the magnitude. Students going on rampage and destroying every property. It was as if some gods had descended into them. And that takes me back to a quote that has been going around, that it is because they felt that their freedoms were being threatened. Don't visit girls' dorm at this time, being beaten, being brutalized. And so, that was what caused all these agitations. And never in the history, as far as I know.
Well, obviously, this is a fast-evolving story. Breaking news here on the Joy News channel. Government has dissolved the KNUST Council and in its stead put in place a 7-member interim council. It has also directed that the university reopens within 14 days to enable academic work to continue. Now, the interim council, chaired by Nana Ifa Apenting, Paramount Chief, and that's his photograph over there, Nanefa Penting. He's the Paramount Chief of the Bompata traditional area. He has been given a 3-month tenure with this new council, interim council. Now, this follows briefs and recommendations made by the Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, after he led a high-powered delegation, including the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, and the Minister Designate for Information, Kojo Opong Nkrumah. Now, it will be recalled that on Monday, the 22nd of October, 2018, there were disturbances on KNUST campus in Kumasi, during which property was vandalized. The university was subsequently shut down indefinitely upon the advice of the Regional Security Council. Now, the view of the university management, as the delegation observed, was that increasingly there had been acts of wayward behavior, hooliganism, and incidents of violence on campus. Hence the need to take steps to protect life and property. The position of the student leadership was that the issues go beyond the university's policy to convert all the halls of residence into mixed-sex halls. It emerged further that the students felt oppressed by some policies of the university authorities and that they lived in fear. They believed they did not have enough opportunity for conflict resolution and dialogue with the authorities, resulting in a breakdown of trust between the students and the authorities. Government's immediate priority is to expedite the reopening of the university to ensure a smooth return to academic work. This view is shared by the university's lecturers. The government is also mindful of an adverse international image the country would suffer if the university remained closed for a protracted period, especially given the substantial number of the foreign students at KNUST. So that's even more detail there from the statement issued by government following the dissolution of the University Council at KNUST. They've been replaced by an interim council, and we're learning more and more about the members of this interim council. It will be chaired by the new appointee, Nana Ifa Apenting, who is the Paramount Chief of the Bompata traditional area. He'll be doing this for 3 months. Let's very quickly get to know who this man is. And once again, my colleague Jojo Kobna has the inside track on some information on who this newly appointed chair is.
Well, I can give you 3. You already stated that he's the chief of Bompata. That is one. And also he attended University of Ghana. Okay. And then he was once a rep, Ghana's rep to the UN. So, I mean, that's what I know about him. We're certainly going to dig up and then bring up more information about the chairman. That is Nana Ifa Penting. And
it's interesting. He's not an alumnus.
He's not.
Okay. So government is bringing someone from outside who they believe will be able to manage the situation. That's interesting. Very interesting. But of course, we'll be bringing you more as we dig up more information on not just the new chair of the interim council, but of course the other members who the government will appoint to run affairs at KNUST for the next 3 months at least. But once again, breaking news right here on the Joy News channel. KNUST's governing council has been dissolved, and in its stead, government has put in place a 7-member interim council. They've also directed that the university reopens within 14 days to enable academic work to continue. Now, the interim council will be chaired by Nana Ifa Apenting, the Paramount Chief of the Bompata traditional area. He'll have a 3-month tenure, and this all comes after some information from the Education Minister and briefs and recommendations to government on what must happen next.